7:35 here on KFYO Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. That could only mean one thing. It's time for Jerry Reynolds, your Car Pro, on line one. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Just a beautiful day in North Texas and whipping around in a Land Rover this week.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing, actually, and I've been surprised by this SUV. I've got the 2019 Land Rover Discovery. Discovery's been around since 1989, and most people, when they think of it, they think of a really tall, boxy sort of vehicle. Some of them were featured in Jurassic Park, for instance, to give you an idea. And they've changed it a couple of years ago to be what looks to be just another crossover SUV. It's kind of round, it's got the egg shape to a certain degree. But what's interesting about this one is it's got the diesel engine in it. It's got a 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel. The last Discovery I drove had a 3-liter 6-cylinder gasoline engine, and I really panned it because the engine was doggy. I mean, it had no power whatsoever, and it didn't get good gas mileage. So my theory's always been, all right, give me great gas mileage or give me a lot of power, but, I want one or the other. And the last time I drove this vehicle, when it first came out in 2017, I thought, gosh, this doesn't do either. So I get this diesel. It's turbocharged, and it's got 443 pound-feet of torque, that's typical of a diesel. It can be short on horsepower, but if the torque is there, it'll get you off the line. And this thing it just performs. It'll tow 7,700 pounds. It'll seat 7 people. Some neat features. This SUV has got the easiest fold-down seats that I've ever seen. If you open the tailgate, there's like 6 buttons back there, and the second row and the third row seating both are in a 60-40 configuration. You can do them. You can raise and lower them any way you want to. But with the push of one button, you can take everything down but the 2 front seats and just make a completely flat load floor. And it happens really fast. This is the best setup for a 7-passenger that I think I've ever seen. And it's got one other neat feature that when I shot video with this thing yesterday, I called it kind of cool but worthless. It's got an activity band. You wear it. So picture this, guys. You're going to go swimming. You take your Range Rover Discovery, and you don't want to leave the keys in your pocket because they're going to get wet. So if you lock the keys into this car, but you're wearing this waterproof band, when you get back to it, you can unlock your car and get your keys. Again, not something you're probably going to use a whole lot, but as many cars as I drive, I don't see much stuff that's just new these days. This was a new feature.
That's definitely different.
$400.
Yeah,
but pretty cool if you actually were you. I could see people who surf and do a lot of swimming and things. That would be kind of a handy thing to have.
Or even, you go to the gym and don't want to carry your keys around. A lot of shorts don't have pockets or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. So I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, $80,000 on the MSRP of this one kind of puts it in line with everything else out there these days. And when you consider the towing capacity, how terrific the interior is, which Land Rover's known for. They're really known for their interiors and their 4-wheel drive system. This thing is a very capable off-roader as well as a real joy when you're driving around town.
Yeah, so as far as Land Rover's concerned, about what I know about it, I don't even think I've ever been inside of a Land Rover, but I've always been told they're overpriced and it's just the name. And you're saying that is not the case necessarily in this one, maybe in 2017, but not in this one.
Yeah, and I got to tell you guys, I'm a Range Rover owner myself. I'm on my 9th or 10th personal Range Rover. I get the bigger one. I get the Sport.
Right.
with the 517 horse supercharged engine.
So you're a fan?
Yeah, I'm a fan, and I have been a long time. I get tickled because the first thing people say when you say Range Rover is, "Oh, they're in the shop all the time." Well, there was a time that was true, but with all of them that I've had, they've been exceptional. And when I ask somebody, when somebody says that, I always ask, "Oh, have you owned one?"
Yeah.
Well,
that's
no.
it. I've never even been in one. I don't think so.
The interiors, the way they drive, the capability of this thing off road. I mean, at this point, and this is pretty shocking statistics, but at least through the end of last year, there has never been a fatality in a full-size Range Rover in the United States.
Oh, that's a pretty good record.
They're big, they're heavy, they're bulky. I mean, this is a little over a midsize, and it weighs almost 5,000 pounds. So there's a lot that goes into the suspension on a Range Rover. It's a different vehicle. It's not for everybody. I get that.
So
this one has been a joy, though.
Let me ask you this: where do they come from?
England.
Okay.
Come from England. Yeah. They've been over there for Jaguar and Land Rover that's one company now. Ford bought Land Rover and Ford bought Jaguar. Then Ford sold both, and then
it just doesn't sound right to have them under Ford.
No, it didn't. But in the early 2000s, Ford was on a buying spree, and they bought those two companies. They bought Volvo, and they bought Aston Martin, believe it or not.
Yeah, and again, I can see Aston Martin, Jaguar, and Land Rover, I guess, being all together, but something about them being under Ford just doesn't sound right.
It didn't work out very well. In fact, the best thing that ever happened was when Ford sold all three of those companies. They've all flourished since then.
Yeah. So, Jerry, what interesting thing do you have over on CarProUSA.com?
If you check over under news at CarProUSA.com, you will see the most and least expensive states for car insurance. Our fair state ranks number 10 of the 50 states for being the most expensive. We've got
we like our cars. We drive a lot.
Yes, we do. And I think that's, if you read the article, they sort of explain that.
Yeah.
I've got a story about Motorcycle Awareness Month. A thank you to our police officers on National Police Week. But probably the most interesting story is about Land Rover. They're coming out with a Range Rover Astronaut Edition. But get this. The only way you can buy one is if you are booked on a space travel trip with Galactic Air,
wow.
Richard Branson's deal. So if you booked your space flight, then you're eligible to buy one of these special edition Range Rovers.
So I mean, you're spending a massive amount of money on that, and then you can buy yourself probably a fairly expensive Range Rover.
Yeah, the trip's about $250,000. I'm going to guess, and they haven't priced it, but looking at other Range Rovers, I'd say the vehicle is another $150,000. So for $400,000, you can have a nice ride and go into space. It just made me chuckle. I got to be honest with you. But the Rover is cool if you get a chance to look at it.
Yeah. What I was going to ask one. What you talked about today, the Range Rover you talked about today, the diesel. It'll be up on Monday.
Yeah, it'll be up on Monday.
Okay.
The Mercedes convertible that I had went up this past Monday. The white S-Class AMG that was $206,000 we talked about last week.
Did you do a burnout on that one?
No.
Oh.
Good God, no.
You do burnout on some of them, and that one was fast, so I thought maybe we'd get a burnout.
No, not in a car this big.
You might have Mercedes giving you dirty looks. You did. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be a first. I put a picture of my speedometer 112 miles an hour into the review. If that don't make them angry, nothing will.
The police haven't come knocking on your door?
Oh no.
But you shouldn't admit that, Jerry. Or the police will be at your door.
They can't prove that it wasn't in a legal space, right?
And by the way, Jerry, you have the most interesting job in America. I just wondered, do you need a partner?
Well, that's a very kind offer, and surprisingly, I get that offer a lot. but the weeks that I've got a Hyundai Accent, nobody wants to play.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got to run. Our time is up. We do want to remind everyone that Jerry's show, The Car Pro, is on 11 to 1 every Saturday right here on KFYO. And you can find out more about carprousa.com. All right.
There you go. Thanks, fellas.
All right, thanks, Jerry.